Good blessed throwback Thursday, May the 19th, 2022. It's about 10:32 a.m. I greet all human beings all around the world. All around the world. All around the world. All around the world. With a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. Doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't even matter whether you're the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, Spanish, Asian. It doesn't matter if you're big or small. I still greet you all with that same universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. You don't have to like what I say or do. That's your prerogative. But you don't need to physically assault me when I just merely come out to tell my story. You see, it's a song called This Is My Story, This Is My Song. This is my story. You see, I've been telling the story for about 426 days about a young homeless brother who happened to be a victim of addiction to drugs, who happened to be partially his own fault, but homeless, who happened to be partially his own fault, being a convicted felon. But out of all that, God said all of our righteousness is like filthy rags. He said all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So my son, that's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about his story. How they hung him and claimed that he committed suicide. But we know he didn't commit suicide. Common sense, facts, and science show different. I want y'all to know that I come to the conclusion with my investigation from inside and outside sources that the Carbondale Police Department, along with their city hall, along with their Jackson County, Illinois prosecuting attorney, along with the NAACP out of Carbondale, Illinois, along with some of the people at the high-ranking levels of the SIUC, the Southern Illinois University campus, and some of them so-called Moorish Americans, especially the Grand Sheik in Carbondale, Illinois. If there's more than one, if you know I ain't talking about you, don't let it bother you. And some of those so-called black Muslims, they joined together with the Charleston, Missouri Police Department and Sheriff Department. You see, these entities is allowing blacks to join the white supremacists or the Ku Klux Klan now. All you have to do is look at all the attacks that I've been getting. But I want y'all to know that these people has been plotting to silence me one way or another. They done sent blacks to attack me. They done sent whites to attack me. All failed. They had prosecuting attorneys that refused to prosecute people. But look where God put him at last year. He's in the cemetery. He died of COVID. People ask me, am I glad or sad? I'm not glad or sad. God just removing my enemies. Removing those that ain't doing their job. Look at some of the people that attack me. Some is on the run and in hiding in federal custody. Some is fighting federal cases. Some is in the cemetery. But I just want to say this here. I thank the people in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. And y'all know who y'all are. It ain't none of the leaders that you see in the newspaper or running these government grant organizations, but it's a lot of people that y'all don't look at as being productive citizens. I thank them for being there for me and my daughters, keeping their eyes and ears open. Because these people is trying to take my life or silence my voice. You see, I know this for a fact, because anytime I'm a part of one of the largest civil rights organizations in this nation, the NAACP, which is supposed to stand for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, we know it's not standing for that everywhere, y'all. Especially with the national president, Derrick Johnson. Not even here in Charleston, Missouri, with the city or the state conference president. Not in Illinois with the city in the state conference president. You ain't seen none of them stand up openly and speaking about my son's death. But you see in Buffalo, New York, I give it to that preacher. That brother man not only had a vigil for them 10 people that got killed in that Tops supermarket in Buffalo, New York. He not only had a vigil for them, he's demanding that the United States Justice Department and Biden sign a hate crime law. He also asking the Justice Department to look into this. He also is confronting his New York State Conference president, who runs all the chapters in the state of Illinois. When you have the title NAACP State Conference President, that means you run all the local chapters in your particular state. It's almost like a governor being the top law enforcement official in a particular state, only being superseded by the United States Attorney General. But this man is asking the state conference president and all the other chapters of the NAACP to get involved in that. And that's what that's what an NAACP leader do. That's what a leader do, period. But you ain't seen none of them speaking up for my son's death. If you see that folder, that binder that they gave me for the Freedom of Information Act, thousands of pages, almost 25 or 30 something CDs with videos. 90% or 99% of that binder is only looking into some way to say that my son committed suicide. But they trying to take my life, y'all. But I'm a fighter. You see what I'm saying? I grew up, my dad was a World War II veteran. His brother was a Korea War veteran. They know about racism. They know about combat. I grew up in Cabrini Green, the most infamous, most notorious housing projects in the country. I did time in Pontiac Correctional Center. I did time in Stateville and Joliet. I did time in Menard. When I came down here, usually, I guess sometime the city send somebody to check and see what I'm saying. I noticed him behind me for a while. I guess he getting another position so he can hear, but that's all right. I want him to hear, because I'm not saying nothing that ain't true. You see, once upon a time, I had a cameraman, but I found out he was working against me. He wasn't working with me. He was going back telling the city what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm talking about is real. Now, another thing that I like what that NAACP president in Buffalo, New York did, he's getting a GoFundMe together for those people that was killed. Imagine if I guess I wasn't saying, I guess they got enough information, so, he gone now. But if I had a GoFundMe going, you know what I would do with that money? I would pay for me a private investigator to help me, because I'm uncovering a lot of things that these law enforcement did. And I even uncovered to show that the chief of police here, Robert Hearns, is working hand in hand with Stan Reno out of Carbondale, Illinois, who Stan Reno is the chief of police there in Carbondale, Illinois, and Robert Hearns is the chief of police here in Charleston, Missouri, and Brenton Farrow, who was an NAACP member, but he just recently this month dropped that. He was in it long enough to try to infiltrate it. You see what I'm saying? But he didn't have to infiltrate it, because he have some that's in there, still in there, that have been presidents, vice presidents, and other positions. They have continued to infiltrate it. Why you think ain't nothing being done in Charleston, Missouri? Why you think that they don't stand up like they do in Buffalo? Why don't you think that they don't stand up in Carbondale, Illinois? Because they infiltrated. They working with the city. They don't like what I say. Some of them shake my hand and laugh in my face, and they think that I really believe that they on my side. But see, actions speaks louder than words. But I'm going to leave right now, y'all. If something ever happened to me, my daughters and them know I ain't going to kill myself. You see what I'm saying? Anybody in their right mind know I ain't going to kill myself. Anybody in their right mind that knew my son started doing time, got 30 years when he was 16 years old, and did it in the most notorious Illinois state penitentiary. If he didn't kill himself then, I know he ain't going to kill himself now. But y'all help me keep on exposing these people. And I know if something happened to me, it's a community in Charleston, Missouri will be right there for my daughters. And it ain't family, but it's people that I done met since I've been down here. Y'all think about that. Peace be still. This is what you call a FOIA file, a Freedom of Information Act file. This is what you want to get when especially people like this Carbondale Police Department and places like Charleston, Missouri Police Department and Sheriff Department. This is my son's file. There's thousands of pages in here. And now this is supposed to be a death investigator. You see all these pages? Thousands of them. 90% of those pages in there is trying to find a way to say that my son committed suicide. But they have so many lies in there. The police contradicting themselves. The pathologist contradicting the police. The prosecuting attorney. And the rest of them. All of them, police contradicting each other. They CSI is contradicting each other. And they showing that they was not only incompetent, but they showed that they didn't like my son and they was using my son. I just wanted to let y'all see. And that blue truck you see in the video, that's a city, a Charleston, Missouri city public works truck. I'm not saying that the man that was in there is fine, but you know, everywhere I go, just about the city, the police, or the sheriff, y'all notice, they be somewhere around. But if I leave, y'all, it'll be evidence. My DNA will be on somebody. And believe that, because I'll put some wounds on them before they take my life.